Perhaps one thing that is of concern is what the law says. Our laws, our law, the Constitution, the ground norm does not recognize state policing. From what the Vice President is proposing today, how can the state policing matter come, and perhaps if you want it urgently, how would that happen?
It is as simple as ABC. It requires the amendment of the Constitution to give the state powers to create the police. That is also evidenced in the committee report of APC. This is their restructuring committee report. They acknowledge the need to have police created in the state. So if you are talking of the procedure to achieve that, it's simple to amend the 1999 Constitution, thereby giving the state the powers to create the police. And then, of course, at the center, you have the overriding powers of the government in terms of the national security. So, but the question then is, even as proposed by the APC, when are we going to have this amendment, done, and when are we going to have it implemented? It is better late than never. So, amendment of the Constitution is fundamental. My opinion is we should not take it lightly. There is just no way to solve problem and crisis in this country. Another thing that is very important, I must mention that, Sheun, the Terrorism Prevention Act is very clear. It was not established for fun. Some of these crimes and individuals involved in this crime must be contextualized. We must situate them within the meaning of the Terrorism Prevention Act.
Is a quagmire of the law that we are in right now. The situation is that of exigency, emergency, on the security, national security life of our nation. But look, legally speaking, this cannot happen without us touching the Nigerian Constitution. How soon can that happen in the light of the emergency we have on our hands?
Now, the world over, whether in America, Canada, England, or even in Russia, as people evolve, so also the law. For example, there was a time in England when people were using guns. They passed laws to stop that. And then at a point, people were using knife. Knife crime became prevalent. Immediately, the parliament had to establish a law to solve the problem. I'm glad that the members of the National Assembly were at the summit. It is expected, if they mean business, by tomorrow morning, they will raise a motion to begin the conversation for the creation of state police. But I am happy that the government has adopted two measures. One in the short term, which is the Operation Cat Race that has just been announced by the military. And of course, there is a difference between the military and the police. The military will be able to solve the imminent and immediate problem at the moment. But we shall not continue with the military everywhere in Nigeria. They will be overwhelmed. In the long term, the amendment of the Constitution for the creation of state is fundamental. And then, much more importantly, due process and regard to human rights is fundamental. When we talk about the right of the people to have their life and the property secured, it is the very basis for which the social contract is established. When government loses that capacity to protect people, the legitimacy of the government becomes questioned. So I'm glad that the government is taking a very drastic step in the short term and in the long term. Over to you, the National Assembly. Tomorrow morning, if you meet business, begin the conversation for the creation of state police. It's simple amendment of the Constitution.
All right. Let Mr. Ejiofor give us the benefit of what this all means. If the National Assembly takes this on and wants to move with it, how easy is it to start a state policing, and how effective, how early do you think the effectiveness of it will come up?
Well, if you look at it critically, virtually every state has its own police now, in the name of vigilante or whatever form you have. So it's just a question of formalizing this issue. Don't also forget that election is by the corner. We are bound to have political stroke security challenges, politically induced security challenges. Right. These are going to come up, and if we don't do things right now, we are going to have problems in 2019. So I think, like my colleague here has said, it's important that the National Assembly initiates immediate action, even if they don't complete it. Like the amendment of the APC government has come up with the amendment, their recommendations. So I don't see why they shouldn't start immediate implementation. Besides, I have always emphasized on the need to redeploy policemen. A situation where you have a policeman that has never seen water from Maiduguri is deployed to Bayelsa or River State and is posted into the water. First, you have the cultural shock. You have the language barrier. So among the rank and file of the police, in the interim, like was practiced when General Babangida was president, he deployed the rank and file of the police to their various geopolitical zones, not necessarily their state of origin. While the command and command structure, the senior officers are deployed from different zones, not necessarily their own state of origin or geopolitical zone. So at the interim, I think we can do that because it's the challenges we are facing now. If you go to Southeast, for instance, or South-South, you see people who don't even understand the language. And the impression is that these people are just here to extort money, not knowing that. So I agree that it promotes yes.
Okay, let me quickly ask you this very important question. The Vice President did mention the issue of urgent need for state and community policing to curtail arms proliferation. But are you concerned, for example, when the Benue State governor said, look, I gave a report to the federal government. On that report are names, specific names of people behind this issue of the crisis, herdsmen attacks in my state, and he said he's surprised that things are not being done. What else do you think we need to know about this very crisis in Benue State, for example?
Well, you see, it's a very tricky and sensitive one because if you look at it, the governor is helpless. From all his utterances, he's helpless. But again, he shouldn't lose hope. He should still rely on the federal. There's no need for these altercations between the police, the state government, the federal government. And you can rest be assured that politicians are going to exploit this. You can see the visits from various governors now. Solidarity, now they have forgotten their party differences because they have a common front. And it is not good for us. We should not play politics with our security.
Before we finish this program tonight, Mr. Ejiofor, the Operation Cat Race will commence in 6 states of the Federation. What do you make of such an operation, and what do you hope that it will bring to that region, especially states like Benue, Taraba, and the rest?
Well, we've had various dances, python dance, crocodile dance, and so I think it's not too late in the day. It's good that the government has taken the initiative because I can tell you outright that the police is overwhelmed in this situation. So military should have ordinarily been deployed before this time. It was better late than never.
Okay, let's allow Mr. Bwala to conclude the conversation tonight with Operation Cat Race, the military intervention, the military zone campaign in this matter. What do you make of it in the eye of the law?
Right. Well, the military made clear their mission. It is not just the herdsman killing the local militia, but also involves armed bandits, armed robbery, kidnapping, and all of that, within the premise of their operation. And they are also guided by the code of ethics of the rules of engagement to observe and respect human rights in the, carrying out of their, function. I think that in the short term, this is a very effective tool for the curbing of the crime. But we must look at the solution, which, like we've been talking about, which is the creation of state police. Okay, lastly, look at even our borders. Nigerian border is as porous as anything under the heavens. When you talk about foreign invasion, we don't have border patrol effective. We don't have air patrol effective. There is just no way. We don't even control our border. So it's very easy for foreigners to come in collaboration with local people that share their sentiment and carry out operations like that. We cannot continue in this trajectory. The time to change is now.
Always a pleasure talking to you on the program. Mr. Mike Ejiofor, we sincerely appreciate your thoughts and the benefit of your experience and knowledge on these issues. Thank you so much, gentlemen, for your time on the program. And that's our show for tonight. Many thanks for being part of it, everyone. On behalf of the crew and I, thank you so much. We'll see you again tomorrow. I'm Sean Wakimale. Bye-bye.